Hey guys, happy to see you. Good vibes. Everybody is hyped and happy. I'm Marian Esco, Crypto Esco with Civic. It's my pleasure to present you two of the bright minds that are working at Civic. Daniel Kelleher, our CTO, and Tyrone Avnit, our Web3 solution architect and AI expert. A bit about Civic. Civic delivers on-chain identity infrastructure that verifies humans and AI agents, protects against fraud, and safeguards user privacy. Civic Auth offers universal single sign-ons, supporting users with or without crypto wallets, together with granular permissioning, verifiable credentials, and bot resistance across leading blockchain networks. That's pretty much the most important thing, what we do, and Civic sets the global standard for scalable privacy, preserving digital identity. Let's talk a bit about what's happening today, and then we'll have the pleasure to listen to our CTO going into some technical details. Okay, so why Civic Auth? Because you can do it in a quick setup. You can deploy in minutes with our SDK. So in under 5 minutes, you can integrate the auth solution to your application or smart contract. Then we have flexible SSO with Google, Discord, GitHub, X, Facebook, and others will come next. Optional embedded wallets, support for Solana, Ethereum, and other EVM chains. Flexible frameworks, React, Next.js, Node.js, and OIDC or OAuth 2.0 compliant client libraries. I think the devs understand this very much. Web 2 simplicity, Web 3 compatible, all in a familiar login experience. We also have a hackathon going on, and we have a bounty, a total of $1,600 USDC will be awarded to 3 winners. First place, 800, second place, 500, third place, 300. How to qualify? Integrate Civic Auth into your application using the Civic Auth Web3 SDK. You can also see it on the booth outside, on the TV. The link, you can come and talk to me after, and yeah, I will guide you if you need guidance. Okay, you can create embedded wallets for users, and then you need to show a working implementation or record a short demo video explaining how you use Civic Auth in your application. So if you're showing a working implementation and how you did it, then that's enough. Yeah, we want to see that. Evaluation criteria, the most important is the quality of the integration. It needs to be smooth, intuitive, UX, and properly implemented Civic Auth. Go-to-market readiness. This is also important because it's what we look for. Solves a real-world need with a clear launch and adoption strategy. So these two are the main important criteria. Then we have the use case. That's creative and original concept with strong marketing potential, and then the presentation, which is clear, engaging demo that effectively communicates the app's value. So yeah, again, I'll be here. You can find me around and talk with me, and I will assist you with anything needed. Okay, this is the intro. I will let the bright brains demo a bit and talk about the technicalities. And I think you're gonna love this. Okay, so I will give the mic to Daniel, our CTO.
Okay, cool. Hey, everyone. Hope you can hear me. I can't see you. I can only see Esco, but I assume that there's tons of you behind me, or rather in front of Esco. So I hope you can all hear me okay. We're going to do a quick demo to show you how to integrate the stuff that Esco just showed you. So let me share my screen. I like to do live demos because something always goes weird and it's fun. So let's see what weird thing happens today. We're going to be building a simple WAGMI app. So if you don't know WAGMI, it's one of the easiest ways to integrate with Civic, but it's not the only way. There's lots of documentation here on docs.civic.com/auth. What you're going to be looking for is these links down here on the bottom left. So the embedded wallets link, specifically the Ethereum link. And here you can see that there are examples down in this section for WAGMI. If you're not using WAGMI, it works especially well with VM by itself. And it's also possible to integrate with ethers, and with a little bit more work, probably everything else as well. But contact us if you have specific needs. The app that we're going to create, or that we're going to integrate Auth into more accurately, is a very simple one. So I've just rustled up some boilerplate here. So if you're using WAGMI, this is basically what you get if you use the create WAGMI template. I just skipped that step for the demo because it takes a little bit of time to install all the dependencies and so on. And I added a little bit of CSS to make it look less horrible. And here's what we have. So we have a small UI which has some kind of status of your wallet. We don't have a wallet yet. That's what we're going to add. We're going to add the wallet, basically. Therefore, because we don't have a wallet, we don't have a balance, and we can't send a transaction yet. But we want to get all these things wired up if we can, and if we have time. So the first thing you need to do is create an account with Civic. And you can do that just by going to auth.civic.com. And when you sign in with auth.civic.com, you'll land onto the dashboard, which is what I'm showing here. And the only thing you need to know here is to take this client ID, because that's what you're going to be putting into the environment variables of your app. And don't worry, it's not a secret. So it's okay that I'm sharing it here. You'll have your own one though, so you use that one. And then what we're also going to do in this particular integration is just going to be front end only. So we've got kind of a Vite app, a React only app. And so we're going to be using, this is the only code snippet you basically need to add Auth into your application. If you're using a backend, or if you're using, as is quite common, Next.js, then go back to the docs and take a look at this integration here. There's a few extra steps to get it working with the backend, such as Next.js, but they're all basically like copy and paste. There's no real thinking required. The only thing I would say does need a bit of thinking is if you're using the Web3 case, you need to make sure to click on this tab and you import the Auth Web3 library rather than this tab where you're importing the Auth library, right? That includes all the Web3 goodies that you'll need specifically for a Web3 app. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to jump over to this window on the right and look at the code and start by just installing that dependency. And while that's downloading, I'll just quickly show you through the code base so you just have an idea of what I'm doing for the rest of it. So this app is basically what you saw here, right? So you can see the wallet, that's this component here. Then you see the balance, that's this one here, and then down here is the send transaction. So what we'll do first is we'll add Civic to this. So if we hop up to main, you can see I've got all these providers in place. These are kind of added by WAGMI, right? So we've got the WAGMI provider, we've got the React query provider. We're going to add one more, like I said in the docs, like I said here, the Civic Auth provider. And then again, just be careful of the import here. This can be a little bit tricky. So you want the default one, you don't want the Next.js one unless you're using Next.js. And then you need to add your environment variable, which I've put in here as Vite Civic Auth client ID. So I believe in Vite that's import meta.m.vite Civic Auth client ID, something like that. And you're going to wrap your app with that, right? So if you're familiar with React, you kind of know how that works. And that's it. Now you have Auth, and I can demonstrate that. Let's say we want to add to our app. We just want to say, like, add the sign-in button. There's a very useful component that you can import called user button. So import that from Auth Web 3, and then go back to our app, and you can see this sign in. Okay, my CSS has given that a gray background, so if I hadn't put that CSS in, it would look like this. And if you click on this, you can see now you already have Auth integrated into your app. And these things here, and these choices here, and even the color scheme, they're influenced by the settings that you have in your dashboard. So you can go back into your dashboard if you want and play around with the settings here and beyond. Okay, I'm not going to bother with that right now. You can play around with that as you like. I'm just going to log in. And then this is, if you were not using WAGMI and you were just using Vite, this would be kind of more or less all you need. Yeah, sorry for the CSS messing this up, but this is effectively what you get here. You see I'm now logged in with my username. There's a couple of things you need to add now to the WAGMI config so that WAGMI picks up the user and the wallet. So I go into my WAGMI config here. You can see I've removed the connectors here. These are effectively the connections to wallets. So I'm going to add the Civic wallet here, not all that code. Ignore that stuff. It's actually very much simpler than that. Embedded wallet. You don't need any config for it. And then there's, I think, one extra step. This is the bit I always get confused about. There's one extra step that you need to do, which is auto connect. Now we have a hook for this. The details are in the documentation as well. It's as simple as use auto connect. And you see that I've added that there, and it's automatically updated, hot loaded my app. And we've got this connected wallet, and we've got a balance. Okay, I probably could do with trimming a few decimal places off here, but we've got a little bit of balance of ETH on the Sepolia chain. So the chain is as defined up here. Actually, there is one step that I do need, again, I forgot to mention here. If you want to fix it to a particular chain, you need to go into and specify the chain in the auth provider, because Civic Auth doesn't actually know by default what chain WAGMI is on. So I suggest creating the initial chain and then putting Sepolia in here. So that's it then. And I'll just reload this to get the reload again in a minute. Okay, it's the same balance, yeah. So just to reiterate all those steps, Civic Auth provider, wrap it around your app. Make sure to import the one from Auth Web 3 or Auth Web 3 Next.js if you're using Next.js. If you're using React, then add the client ID in here. For Next.js, the client ID goes somewhere else, just to reiterate. So looking at the docs, in Next.js, the client ID goes into the next config. Add your initial chain. In my case, it's Sepolia. And then wire it up to WAGMI with this embedded wallet, also imported from Auth Web 3, but this time /WAGMI. And then you've got everything. I'm going to try. This could go. I can't even copy and paste this. Okay. I don't really feel like messing around with a DOM and finding another wallet. So you'll just have to trust me that this send transaction would work. But you can see already that it's wired up to the chain because it's finding my balance in here. So that's pretty much it. One extra thing I want to mention about the hackathon. So as Esco mentioned in his presentation, we are looking for high quality secure integrations into apps. But an extra category that I'm particularly interested in is tooling. So not all the source is open yet, so it's a little bit difficult. But I'm particularly interested in things that would make it easier for other people to integrate, right? So I mentioned that, for example, if you're using WAGMI and you're using Vite, if you're using Next.js, it's super easy. How about if you're using Ethers, or if you're using some other Ethereum library, or if you're using some other web framework? It would be really cool if the community could provide libraries to help with that as well. So I and the dev team will be in particular paying attention to those sort of integrations as well. But basically, the sky's the limit. Use your imagination and reach out to us. The easiest way to do that is via Discord. There's a link on civic.com. If you run into difficulty, we're very keen and willing to help anyone who is struggling with an issue. If there's something that's not clear in the docs, then let us know, and we'll do our best to help you with that. And yeah, I think I'll leave it there. Esco, back to you.
Thank you, Dan. That was awesome. Yeah, Ty, would you like to say a few words?
No, everything went very well. Nice, Dan. Really enjoyed it.
Okay,
It was great.
Good. Dan, anything else to add?
No, I'm good. Just thanks very much, everyone, for your time and your attention, and see you on the battlegrounds.